All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Everybody thinking and talking about Super Bowl Sunday, and it's going to be a big one between the Chiefs and Eagles, as the Eagles a 1.5 favorite over Kansas City as that game will kick off from Arizona at around 5:30. There's going to be a huge college basketball matchup that day as well on the ladies' side versus the remaining only two undefeated teams in the country, and that is LSU and South Carolina. The Tigers were able to prevail yesterday and get the win over Texas A&M, 72-66. As we said, Angel Reese, another double-double. Alexis Morris had 22 before fouling out. Coach Mulkey's post-game press conference, you could see what her message was. I thought it was right. Look, LSU women's basketball has arrived. Every time they show up, it's a huge matchup. You're going to get the other team's best punch. It doesn't matter that Texas A&M's in last place. They're going to swing their best shot at him. And now we talk to the queen here, who is back from College Station and getting up for a big week ahead. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jordy?
I'm doing good. I thought your post-game press conference was very telling, and I thought it was been spot on really for the last couple of weeks. I think you've been getting this. You've been getting everybody's best shot because your team is showing up, your program is showing up with headlines. People are talking about the LSU women's basketball program. I guess you feel that, right?
Well, we have not arrived, but we are relevant now.
Right.
There's a difference. And, you're undefeated. It doesn't matter who you've played. That brings attention. You've got, particularly on this team, you've got three personalities that are just big time on social media, and they get a lot of attention, and they're outstanding players. You played 3 games in a matter of 7 days, and it's just you're getting a lot of attention, and that's okay. And with attention comes a lot of responsibility, and people are going to come at you aggressive, and they're coming at you like in waves, and we've got to learn how to handle that. We're just getting started, and I think we're handling it pretty well.
What has been your biggest takeaway of your last 2 games? A win in overtime versus Georgia, and a game yesterday that you controlled and won in the league.
Well, I think first of all, winning both of those games is a teaching moment. But I think this is part of the process, and I hate that word process. You hear the coaches use it all the time, but it's true. Part of it is you have to go through these difficult games to get better, and we took 2 teams outstanding, 3 actually. If you go back to the Tennessee game, we took their best shots, in my opinion, and it tells you a lot about yourself. It tells you about how you're going to handle yourself in tough moments, and it's fun to watch. I would say these things, even in losses, is that we're okay. We're a pretty good team. We're pretty talented, but we've got a long way to go.
Not sure why, but I guess, is this good timing for you to have midweek off and focus on Sunday, or would you rather play this week?
I would love to have this week off.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad we have this week off. Having just played 3 games in 7 days, we need a little time to take a breath. And, the kids are off today and tomorrow, and we'll get back in that film room on Wednesday. Now, South Carolina has to play this week. This just happened to be our bye week. And then they, of course, played out of conference yesterday against UConn. So they have to turn around and play in conference. I don't know when their game is, Thursday maybe, and then we play them on Sunday.
6 days out, what's your thought of this team as you just begin to scout them?
I'm not negative Nancy. I'm more of a realist Ruth. I don't know if anybody is capable of beating South Carolina this year. They're that good.
Wow.
They have that much depth. They've played just everybody they can play on their schedule to prepare them to win their 3rd national championship. Going to their place, it's already sold out, over 18,000 people. What it will do for us is be a gauge on how good are we, what we have to do to be in South Carolina's company, and that's how we will prepare. We will not go in there with a defeatist attitude by any means. I will always refer to the 2005 national championship at Baylor, playing LSU, who was the best team, who had already beaten us earlier that year. It's a one-game season is how we will approach it, but it is not, if you lose, oh, you're terrible.
Sure.
And if you win, oh, you're going to win a national championship. It is for TV a great game, potentially the 1-2 matchup in the country, two undefeated teams. What else can you say? It's good for TV.
Yeah.
And we're just going to go in there and see how good we are and play hard and see what happens.
I know nothing of the backstory here. I'm just kind of reading the press on this. Dawn Staley, there seems to see, just judging outside, and I'm just, it looks as if she sees LSU women's basketball now as a threat in the league. Do you feel that? Do you have a relationship with her? What's that like because of your status within the league and now what she's been able to accomplish over the last few?
Oh, I think all of that is probably brought about by what she said or didn't say last year when she was asked, can you make a comment on how well LSU women's basketball is doing? And I don't think she gave the answer everybody thought she should give. And I don't have a problem with Dawn Staley. I've played her numerous times. In fact, we played her twice during that run for my third national championship. I think she's done a tremendous job at South Carolina. I mean, look what she's done. So we've never had any beef with each other, and I think that's just what the outside world would like to write.
Coach, I wanted to talk to you about Poa and her minutes. It seems as if we talked about her last week, and you can tell the trust between you, your staff, and her is growing. What are you seeing from her?
Well, I probably deserving of more minutes. That's the first thing I would say as the coach. She's a true point guard, like with Alexis Morris and Kateri Poole, who can play the point. I can also move them to the off guard. I don't want to do that with Poa. So I think Poa is so confident right now. Yesterday, she makes those two critical free throws there when the game was tight. It's a matter of, at the right time, moving Alexis to the off guard, and maybe sometimes I don't do that and insert her for Alexis. But Poa is, this is her first year with the program. She got to us late because she was in Australia. She's just finally found her groove, and I just think she's a very unselfish player. She can score the ball more. She's learning the system. We're going to continue to work with her on defense, as all of them need to get better defensively. But I'm just high on Poa.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you use this week? How do you treat this week? You mentioned that they're off the next 2 days. What's the schedule look like?
Well, Coach Bob will be in the film room, and I've already started looking at film as I lay in the bed at night and just study what you think you want to do, and not deviate too much from your identity as a program. But sometimes you have to make adjustments in a game when you feel like you can't. You're the underdog by much. Let's not kid ourselves.
Sure.
We are the underdog. Nobody has beaten them. They're defending national champions. It's just going to be fun in that there is someone in the SEC that can be talked about besides South Carolina. They're deserving of all the accolades and awards and being talked about. We're just trying to make and have made LSU relevant in the national picture. But again, Jordy, we've only won games. We haven't won any championships, but it's fun to watch the excitement in the community and across the country for LSU women's basketball.
Yeah, for sure. I'd imagine this is a big time in recruiting, Coach. I know that your class is signed for next season, and it's highly decorated and very well respected. How do you use this time in recruiting?
Well, you look at the week and you see who's playing. High schools are just now finishing up their regular seasons. Do you save visits and evaluations when they get to the playoffs? just use it wisely. You're always recruiting. You're always on the phone. You're always text messaging. You're always talking to coaches. That's just that never stops. Pick and choose when you need me to go out and see players. So yes, we will do all of that this week. But again, having a couple of days off sounds good, but it's not any different if we didn't have days off.
Sure.
That's just what we do. And then this goes on all the way through summer because the transfer portal usually gets really busy after the season when people start deciding to leave schools.
Does that change, Coach, as you're recruiting now? You've had a chance to be on campus and really sell the program, and obviously you're experiencing the fruits of that, getting some of the top high school players in the country. How do you now start to shift the portal with your classes coming in because of so much work you had to do in the roster management when you got here? When do you get the reins of it with what you're doing in recruiting?
Well, yes, it's changed. I mean, you never know. We could lose players. That's just the nature of the beast now. What it does in the summer, it used to be that you spent the majority of your time sitting in gyms watching AAU tournaments. Now you still do that, but you have to bring in transfers to campus and try to, get them to choose your school. So it's just added work is what it is. On top of that, you have your camps in the summer. So, it's different, but it's here to stay.
I don't want to get you any trouble, but I'll just say it. Another BS technical yesterday. Have a great week ahead, and we're looking forward to the matchup on Sunday, Coach.
And her technical, I don't mind telling you what she said because I went back and looked at it on film. She scored. She was backpedaling, and she said, "and won."
That's it. I mean,
and I laughed. And I said to the coach, after every game, we evaluate officials. We send it in to the supervisor of officials in the SEC. We're quite aware that people are complaining about Angel trash talking. But I'll say it again. I have heard worse. There is worse going on. Well, I just think it's a not personal. I think each referee is different. Yeah. And I'll say this in defense of refereeing. I watched the Tennessee-Auburn men's game, and there was some tussling going on between Tennessee big guy, and then they broke it up, and then a few seconds later he scored. And if you watched him, he's running down the floor, and he gives the too little sign, too small. That's the new thing where you put your hand down low. You may not even know that, Jordy. Right. You put your hand down low. It goes on all the time. And for the first time, I saw official give a technical, and the guy never opened his mouth. He just ran down the floor like, "You're too small to guard me." So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if taunting is the big word. It's usually one big thing going on. So whatever it is, if Angel keeps doing it and they call it technical, I'll have to address it. But those things will be addressed. But again, I'm not going to take her passion away.
Were you a good trash talker as a player?
Oh, yes. That was part of my game. You have to remember, I never wanted to embarrass my institution, my coaching staff, my family, or anything like that. But that's what competitors do. You may not see as much of it that's going on. But with TV cameras now, a lot of it is caught. But name me any great player that really didn't trash talk. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, they talk about it in their books. But when they leave the court, they go drink beer together. Right. I mean, I didn't, drink beer. I don't drink. I have never had a drop of alcohol in my life. But you do that. And I don't know if it's for your own motivation. I don't know if it's your passion. I don't know if it's what it is. But, just don't cross the line and make it vulgar. But, trash talking happens all the time.
Huge one on Sunday, number 1 versus number 2. Everybody will be watching within women's college basketball. Coach Mulkey and LSU travel up to South Carolina, undefeated in both the regular season and in conference. Thank you as always, Queen. We'll talk again soon.
Take care.
All right, now. There she is, Kim Mulkey checking in. LSU women 23-0 after yesterday's win versus Texas A&M. They face off against South Carolina coming on Sunday. That conversation brought to you by our friends over at City Cafe. Stopped in and saw Squeaky and the crew yesterday as they were celebrating a legend, Mr. Fournet, over at St. Thomas More, retired after 42 years as being the athletic director over at St. Thomas More. They had a crew in City Cafe last night, man. They had about 50 people in there celebrating from everybody around. It was good to see a bunch of the familiar faces in there, but that's what you see when you go out to City Cafe. A lot of people you know, where good friends go to meet, where good friends go to eat after Little Jays basketball tournament, where the Our Lady of Mercy Blue Jays capture another championship through this tournament circuit, this Catholic League tournament circuit. 4 out of 5, Stewie, as they took home the St. Thomas More championship yesterday. So if you're keeping score at home, which I don't think a lot of you are, but we are over here for sure.
Every weekend I'm waiting on the championship.
St. John V&A champions at the start of January. Then went to the St. George tournament, took home the championship against the much-vaunted Dragons. Then had to protect the home floor versus Our Lady of Mercy at Our Lady of Mercy. Took home the championship there. Was beaten in the St. Jude tournament by St. George last weekend. Was able to get back in winner's circle last night versus St. Thomas More for the Our Lady of Mercy 6th grade Blue Jays. Great weekend for the coaches and players, but celebrated after over at City Cafe. CityCafeBR.net is where you can read and get the menu online. And you can always check them out on the corner of O'Neill and George O'Neill, where good friends go to meet, where good friends go to eat. All right, good. The Carpool Queen is here. We're going to get her thoughts on courtside seats for LeBron on Saturday. The experience there. She looked as if she was a little hungover for that experience, but she rallied and she pulled through. There she is. Still hungover?
Probably.
All right.
Just a little bit.
All right, we'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.